Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome to Community Connections from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching, and thanks to our producer, Jeff Durrell. We're in the offices of Dr. Terry Crull, the director of Choral Works at Fort Hays State University, and we're visiting about some of the events and activities through the Department of Music at Fort Hays State University. And actually, I should probably introduce him as the Lord of the Manor, since that is the title that has been bestowed upon him. So what do I do? Do I address you as your lordship?
Well, since I write the script and I bestowed it on myself, I guess you can call me whatever you want to.
How about your wonderfulness? Will that work?
Yeah, there you go. There you
Okay.
go. I'll
I was going to say, as writer, producer, and director, you get to kind of pick and choose, don't you?
Well, I don't call myself producer. I leave that to the Memorial Union staff. They produce the hall and the decorations and stuff. Charm Arthur does the place settings and the decorations and the set pieces. So the art department and the music department are heavily involved, but the Memorial Union has a good piece of activity. Of course, they host it. So I call them the producer or hall managers. So,
but at least we are to the season of the Madrigal Feast.
We're getting there.
There again this year.
Yep.
Give us the dates and ticket availability.
This year's Madrigal Feast is November 30th, Friday, and Saturday, December 1st, both at 6:30 in the Memorial Union here on the Fort Hays campus. It starts in the Sunset Lounge, gathering guests. There'll be a coat check there, and there'll be munchies, fruit and nuts, I think, by some of the wait staff or waifs. And we'll do the honored guests this year. We honor the past immediate Presidential Scholar Award winners, Richard Pakauskas and Amy Schmierbach. So they'll be a part of our feast, and the singers are introduced in the trumpet fanfares, and then we haul it upstairs to the ballroom where guests are seated. We've added a new twist this year out front when people gather. Toby Flores from our art department and some apprentices will be forging the spoons to be used for the soup.
What's that all about?
Well, we lost the spoons, and so they had to quickly forge some new spoons for the Great Hall, and Toby is going to be called upon to do that, and the wait staff and the manor servants will be anxiously running in and out of there saying, "Are the spoons done? Are the spoons done?" And it remains to be seen whether they'll get finished in time for the soup or whether people will have to sip it out of the bowl, kind of, this fashion. So we'll see.
That's going to be an interesting twist.
That's a new twist to it.
Great.
To other than that, some other new elements. We're going to serve a variety of different foods, as always. And the wait staff will be some of the Hays High Chamber singers. It's a good money maker for them. So it's nice that they can assist us and help themselves for their trip, raise some funds. We'll have harpsichord and flutist as our background music, and as well as carolers throughout the evening. Some things will stay the same. The 12 Days of Christmas sing-along. The jester, Sean DeMuth, is our jester. He'll be with us again, as Bruce Bardwell is the town crier. Of course, the Fort Hays Singers will be the royals who entertain the commoners who are invited in this one night of the year to enjoy the feast. As you mentioned, our Lord and Lady of the Feast this year are yours truly and my lovely wife, Joan. Okay. My ugly wife will be one of the beggars. No.
What do you get to do, or what do you have to do as the Lord? Are you just kind of the presiding
I kind of pull the chair out for my wife. I bow before my wife. I turn to her when she has a line.
Kind of like real life.
Yeah,
basically.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I'm subservient to her, because we call it an Elizabethan feast, so she's the queen and I'm just the also-ran. But I'll also be guiding and directing the singers and keeping track of what goes on with food service and timing and so forth. It's not an exact science at a Madrigal feast. If people want to eat slow, they're going to screw us up.
So you're going to have a timing situation.
Well,
now.
we push
this portion, yes, and within this time
we push the serving and the clearing as fast as we can in order to keep the keep the show moving. Timing is, it's kind of like a musical. You know, if the set changes are long and tedious, that's where you lose your audience interest.
Well, and this is a show, literally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a concert, and it's a theater production, and, of course, a dinner. So all those elements combine to make a fun evening, but it has to have some fast pace to it and something constantly going on, or else, people will say, well, it seemed a little slow, and they won't know why, but that's why. So hopefully the 3 hours will pass like that, and they'll end up saying, wow, it's over already? It's 9:30 already?
I think that's generally the case in years past.
Well, I hope so.
And there are no bad seats because the singers, the carolers will be moving throughout.
We perform in the round, so there's a center stage, so it's equidistant from every table. We do work the edges of the hall as well, so yes, hopefully there's no bad seat. We have a combination of round tables and long tables. Some people like to sit in small groups. Some people want a large contingent of 10 or 12 people at one table, although, I think if you were sitting at that table and I was sitting at this table, I'm actually closer than if you were at the other end of a 12-seater table, but we accommodate our guests' wishes that way.
Chartwell's, the food service, what kind of foods? Some of the traditional English,
yes,
maybe?
We're having a pumpkin bisque, as we had last feast for the soup. That was a big hit, sweet kind of soup. And I'm not sure what they're having for the figgy pudding this year. Some kind of stuffed, puffy, flaky
I'm going to ask about the figgy pudding. That has to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, and they're debating about what meat will be served yet. There is a new element this year, Queen's Garden Roughage.
A
salad.
Okay.
Okay, a salad. So there's soup and salad and a main course, and then, of course, the figgy pudding, whatever it is. We sing about the figgy pudding. Whether it's figgy pudding or not is irrelevant.
All right, now, as a director of choral works, as a professor of music, talk about the music, the challenge for the students as well as the professor to bring forth the music that blends in with the atmosphere.
Well, I have three components in the music. One is the service pieces. So we sing a wassail song when the toasts are made, and we sing Deck the Halls when the Yule log is brought in, see the blazing Yule before us. And we sing, we wish you a Merry Christmas, now bring us some figgy pudding at the dessert. The challenge there is to have the kids who've done this feast one or two times before keep it fresh. And the opposite challenge is for the new kids to learn a piece that others have memorized from 2 years ago and can still sing right off the bat. And so getting just the right amount of rehearsal time to make sure the new kids learn it, but the old kids don't get tired of it, is a challenge with that. Of course, most of the madrigals and the Christmas concert music is new stuff. But we also do double duty in that you'll hear some of the Christmas concert things again at the cathedral concert, because with a week between, we don't have time to learn a whole new set of Christmas music. So we'll use some of it again. But a lot of people at the cathedral didn't make the Madrigal Feast or vice versa. And plus, the Madrigal Feast is a ticket, whereas the cathedral concert is free. So that kind of determines which crowd some people go to which performance. But we think the price is fair. It's $35 for adults, $25 for Fort Hays students. Okay, and I make sure my students know that if you're a student, you can't buy 400 tickets at student price because you're a student. Because it's an expensive proposition. The food is expensive. The fancy program is a little more expensive to print. The decorations and costuming that we have, Pam McGowan is making some new costumes for my singers. We really don't make any profit. It's not a money maker by any means. Of course, none of our concerts are really. We do them as a service. That's one of the reasons why I went to every other year, because it's such a huge production. The time commitment and the effort to memorize 18 to 25 choral pieces, perform them. We do some blocking with them. I mean, we use the center stage, and the kids don't just stand there and sing like at a choir concert. They're processing, or they're marching, or they're dancing, or they're they're spinning this way and that way. It's more like a marching band performance for some of them, and they have fun with that eventually. When I first introduce it, they have trouble grasping the concepts sometime. But the seasoned ones say, this will fall together. You'll see what it looks like, and it'll be fun. So that's one of the challenges. But one of the advantages is a great teaching opportunity for me, for the history of the type of music we do, how they fit into a madrigal feast and the historical context of early music. For example, we're going to try and use a harpsichord this year. Harpsichords are notoriously difficult to play in tune, but they always were. So it's kind of authentic to use a harpsichord that sounds a little more twangy than your concert grand piano in Beach Schmidt, which holds its tune from month to month. And, a harpsichord's more like a guitar. You rarely see a guitar player get up without tuning it, or even tuning it while they're playing it. So the harpsichord is a challenge because temperature affects it and moving affects it, but we're going to try it.
But it sounds like it would fit in perfectly with the overall atmosphere.
It is. The atmospheric sound of the harpsichord is very early music type, Baroque and Renaissance. So that fits in very nicely. Sean DeMuth is our jester again. That's a fun element that we brought in last feast. So I keep some things the same, some things are new, hopefully keeping it fresh, but there's elements that people will recognize from past feasts and are kind of traditional and keep them around for a while.
May I say that those who have never attended a madrigal feast certainly have a treat in store for them. It is a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
And the feast has been going on here since 1964, and I still run into people on campus who say, "Oh, I've seen it." I said, "When? In 1968?" It's a little different now with new kids, with new bits of theater. I like to think my theatrical experience gives the pacing a little bit of push so that it doesn't seem like a tediously long evening. So even some of my colleagues in the music department, "Oh, I've seen it before." Well, you haven't seen it since I've been here, and you really should. Yeah, because you owe it to me, your colleague, to hear what I do.
Absolutely. And support the entire department.
So, Fort Hays music faculty, I've got 2 tables. You could come and sit at my table.
There you go.
It won't even cost you the full price.
There's your personal invitation from
yeah.
Dr. Crull. The date and time again.
November 30th, December 1. That's a Friday and Saturday, the first weekend of December. 6:30 is the start time. People usually gather between 6 and 6:30. There'll be a coat check there, and we meet in the Sunset Lounge, and then we guide you up to the Great Hall for seating. And tickets can be found on the website. Go to FHSU and then search Madrigal, and it comes right up. It's the first thing or second thing on the site search.
I think Jeff will probably post that on the bottom of the screen.
Or you can call the campus 628-4000 and ask for the Memorial Union. Rhonda Tutak takes care of all the seating and tickets. She does a wonderful job with that. That's a long and hard job. And she did tell me at our meeting on Tuesday, and this is the 15th, so it's Tuesday the 13th, we were over halfway sold. So I expect they'll sell out within a week.
Which is usually the case.
Usually
so don't put it off.
Yep. The first year we went to every other year, it sold out in 3 days. And I had been a proponent of doing every other year because every year it gets a little bit, "Oh yeah, I've done there, done that." And even if people haven't been there for 5 years, they think they went last year. But when you take a year off, people somehow say, "Oh, they didn't have one in a while. I better go."
Those kind of expectations, plus the fact that
so.
this is a huge production that involves an awful lot of planning and preparation.
And there's other things we want to do at Christmas time.
Sure.
We have had the holiday pops with the orchestra, or Joe and Ivela have talked about doing, something like a Mall and the Night Visitors, a little opera thing at Christmas time that would be fun. So there's lots of other things that are fun to do at the holidays, not only for here in the department, but also in the community. I mean, there's the Frost Fest parade, and the Nutcracker comes to town. We had the Prairie Nutcracker, I think, last year. So lots of activity in the holiday season. It's a great place to live, and there's something for everyone, but we know the Madrigal Feast is hopefully going to be a big part of that.
Dr. Terry Crull, Director of Choral Works at Fort Hays State University, with our Community Connections from Eagle Community Television. Our community connected. Thanks for watching.